Hey, welcome back, everybody. Time once again to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and brought to you, hosted by Mr. Orange County himself, John Gutierrez.
Welcome, everybody, to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, John Gutierrez, Senior Vice President here. And with us today, we have another great guest, community leader, this organization that she's a part of as the Executive Director, 211 Orange County, which is part of the Orange County United Way, national, right, organization. You're going to want to learn about what they're all doing, how they're helping the community, so many resources. So please welcome to our show, Elizabeth Andrade.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. And to be here with Mr. Orange County himself. What a privilege.
It's a rare privilege every time he comes in here.
Thank you, Pod.
Shines a little brighter.
I'm not going to fit out the door when I leave right now. You know,
but I'm going to prove the point, because before you even started, you found out that you guys have like 3 degrees of separation. You're somehow connected through family and stuff.
Yes. It's kind of a funny story. When we ran into each other recently at a big event, and our friend from Cal Optima, right, was introducing us, I looked at her and I said, wow, you look really familiar, like somebody I knew growing up. And of course, one of your cousins I knew very well growing up, Juan Andrade.
That's right.
And his sister Alma.
That's right. Yeah.
So when I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, you look so much like Alma. And then that's when you were like, oh, those are my cousins.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, no way. And we started talking.
I hope Alma's watching.
I hope so,
too. She just knows that this is how this all came about.
Yes.
Yeah, the Andrade genes are strong.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Yeah. No, really. And I was just talking to my wife about this last night. I said, it's so interesting because your uncle, Chuy Andrade, is actually the godfather of my oldest sibling for his, I think, first communion. So he was actually very, very close with my dad. He would always hang with my dad. So there's some like far distance family. But it was just so funny because I was talking to my cousin about you this morning, and he said, of course you know her dad, and of course you know her family. They used to hang with us all the time as we were kids. But I'm assuming you were very young at the time. So
probably. Yeah, probably an infant.
We won't go into ages.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
We're about the same age. Yeah.
No, I'm 50. I doubt you're close to my age.
But it proves once again, he is connected to everybody in Orange County.
Well, and I want to make sure, we get into the aspect of this organization that you're a part of, and we'll get into all this. It's just an amazing organization. From my understanding, United Way took it over or bought it, right? A couple years ago?
Yeah. They acquired it. So Orange County United Way has been in Orange County for 101 years. And about 2 years ago, it made the decision to acquire 211 Orange County and bring it into the portfolio of great services that United Way offers. And it's not an uncommon model. About half of the 211s throughout the country are associated a part of the United Way portfolio. And it makes a lot of sense. United Ways exist to collaborate and to coordinate care in communities. And 211, as we will talk about, is a key component. It's a pillar of care coordination, especially in Orange County.
Now, how did you get to this point is what I want to know, and the audience, because again, it's very important that we share with our listeners and our viewers, how did Elizabeth Andrade get to this point of her journey? Because I mean, from my understanding, you have a huge responsibility running 211. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, obviously, where you grew up, and how you got to this point of being executive director at 211.
Yeah. My two favorite things to talk about, myself and 211, so appreciate the opportunity again. Grew up in Santa Ana kid.
Hey, Santanera.
That's it.
Yes.
And one of 6, like you shared, lots of strong family ties. Just always remember being at a family event with cousins, with uncles and aunts, and just seeing the power of family growing up and loving the community. I would say, like many, went through some struggles. It's never easy to grow up, especially when you don't necessarily have all of the resources like your friends have, or the things that you wish you had, and like wanting to go into Sanrio and get the Keropi erasers every weekend at the mall. Like, that was not my growing up story. I faced
humble beginnings.
Got to experience quite a bit of adversity growing up. got to experience walking into a social services office to ask for food stamps and for cash assistance throughout some of the exposures in my experience. So, not in spite of, but because of those experience, having the ability to see through the lens of people who, for whatever reason, at some point in their life, they need a hand up, they need some support, they need some direction. And I would say that those instances, being one of six, never helps. I'm right in the middle and supporting. Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned food stamps.
Yeah.
Because I often get asked to go speak as Senior Vice President of the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce at some event, on a panel, entrepreneurship, all this stuff, right? And one day I was sharing with my mom, because she said to me, she sees it on Facebook, right? What's all this you do? And I said, she only speaks Spanish. And I said, well, I do this. And I tell my story. And I never forget what my mom said. Don't tell people that part of our story.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, why not? She says, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to know that. And I said, no, Mom. People need to know our journey, our struggle.
Yeah.
They need to know what we went through.
Absolutely.
Because there's probably a young man or a young lady sitting in that audience who's going through those tough times we went through and can hopefully say, wow, he's senior vice president at this organization, or he owns his own business, right? Like, if he can do it or she can do it, why can't I?
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's in those times that you are so embarrassed to ask for help, because it's never easy. I mean, whoever wants to ask anyone for help or support, it's just, we are, pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of a society. And we see that every day at 211. We get over 10,000 calls every month of people who have made the decision to be brave and reach out and ask for help. And if you think about the services of 211, I'll start with, it's a 3-digit dialing code. You can access it anywhere
Just
that you
like
stand in
when
the country.
people dial 411, it's just 211?
Yeah, just
That
211.
is-
That's it.
yeah.
And people may not remember 411, and so 411 used to be it's a directory line. You call it. I would ask for movie times when I was growing up. So it's
Wait, is that no longer around?
I called it the other day because someone's like, "Does it still exist?" So I
Yeah.
called it. It does. It's,
okay.
it's interesting to think about. But the term 411 for information, that's where that came from for some of the younger crowd that may not recall 411.
Yes.
But yeah, 211 is a 3-digit dialing code. It's established across the country by the FCC, and so anywhere that you stand, you can dial 211. And what it does is it connects you to the available resources that you may need. So in Orange County, about half of the people that are calling for support with housing. As we know, the housing costs in Orange County continue to rise, and for many, it's unattainable to maintain their housing situation. So looking for options like affordable housing, looking for opportunities to support with rental assistance or utility assistance so people can stay housed. We want our community to stay housed and be stable. But we also receive requests for food assistance. We talked about CalFresh and food stamps, right? How people rely at points in times with a little bit of help so that they can use the money that they would have allocated for food to pay for their rent, as one example. And so not only do we connect people to food pantries and rely on a rich network of providers who are doing the food pantry type of work or providing enrollments into CalFresh, but we also, over the phone, provide that enrollment opportunity. So if people need help, it's not only about directing them to resources in the community, but also about supporting them with programming and enrollments.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because recently, through our hospice company that, of course, my sister and my wife run, we had somebody we were taking care of in a really bad situation. They were living in a garage, and I remember my sister calling me and saying, hey, I need to find resources for this family. And it was interesting because I called my friend Teresa from Villa Roma, who's one of our members of our chamber. And she said, oh, well, we'll provide some food. We'll help out. And it was really nice what they did. But for a longer term, she said to me, I don't know where, she says, but you should call 211. And it was like the third time I had heard of 211. One, when I met you. Second time I had heard about it was through Andrew, who I sit on a board with at Mecca. And he, of course, works with you guys at United Way, right?
Yes.
So I've been little by little, like, hearing about 211, but I feel like if I'm somebody who's in the community a lot and I hadn't heard about it, I can only imagine, right? Others, right? So do you find that's a challenge?
That is a challenge, and it's primarily you would hear from word of mouth. Lots of people share through, like, how did you get access to that, or how do you know where to go
All these
to
other
get access to
families that are
resources?
utilizing. Okay.
Yeah, so word of mouth is the big one. Schools will refer families that are in need to 211. Our service providers, we have over 1,100 community-based organizations, nonprofits listed as a part of our directory, and they provide over 3,000 services in Orange County. So they refer back to 211 if somebody needs a resource that they don't necessarily offer. So we see that within the network as well. We are not as well advertised as what we would like to be. And so I'll say that for everyone who's listening or watching today, that is the number one ask is if you or someone that you know is in need of any type of social service assistance, call 211. And the way that I like to describe it is like you plug in an address into your GPS, you call 211 and we connect you to your destination. And so if somebody needs food or mental health services or housing assistance, that is our role in the community primarily. Now, I'll also mention it only takes one natural disaster and for us to be asked to activate, because 211 will serve as the natural disaster non-emergency line. So
I saw that when I was on your website.
Yeah, which is it's a huge role because we have to be prepared.
And I don't want to say it, but I was just talking with somebody about that the other day. I said, you're seeing all these floods, you're seeing all these things all across the country. I said, man, we're due for an earthquake, which knock on wood, we don't, right? But it's the reality. And we need to know if we were to face this. I mean, right before I came to the show, we were just having a power outage in Tustin, Irvine area where I live. Wow. And it's just a power outage, right? And they're like, oh, it won't be back on to 11.
So disruptive.
It was like an hour and a half or so. But I have my mom who lives with me at the house, who's a senior, citizen. And I'm like, I got to go. Thankfully, my wife was on her way home to bring my son, and my son's going to be with my mom and so forth. But there's a lot of people like her who live by themselves, right? There's a power outage, there's an earthquake, something happens. We don't think about the fact that there's a lot of seniors living by themselves, right? Do you see that a lot with seniors?
We do, and we see our role as connecting them to available resources and helping people prepare and plan. So for our senior community or community that relies on electricity for their health, I mean, you're in healthcare, it's such a key component. If you know that there's going to be a power outage because of high winds, we partner with SDG&E in South County and with Edison for our North County region, and we enroll people in services so that if there is a power outage, like there was this morning, that folks who rely on electricity have a backup generator, have a resource that they need. If it's an extended outage, that they are relocated to an area where there is power available to them. So that's a part of our portfolio and preparedness that most people won't know until they need it. And so part of the education and preparedness that we all need to do in case of that earthquake or that flood or that fire, or whatever the natural disaster is, that we know that 211 is the non-emergency line that gets activated, and it will be announced by the governor and it will be announced by whomever, like it was in LA. Our neighbors in LA saw that, and the 211 in LA, our sister 211, received 80,000 calls 10 days after the fires.
No
so
way. 80,000 calls.
Imagine that
How
volume.
do you answer so many calls? Like, that's amazing.
You have to have a plan in place to activate. We have a very strong telephony system that we can have volunteers plug into and answer calls. We have lots of technology behind the scenes that helps to connect people to the available resource, given what they say. We're using some AI, and so we're getting really smart about our ways that we're preparing.
Now, you recently took over, right?
I did, yeah.
This
I've been
Orange
in this
County
role for just under 2 years.
And what's that been like for you? I mean,
So I've spent the last almost 2 decades in social services. So I know my colleagues and my friends well within the sector. And so when you're responsible for a network of 1,100 service providers and you know a good chunk of them, it makes it a little bit easier.
You have those relationships.
It's all about relationships.
And you know how they work.
And Orange County, I mean, we are all about relationships, right, Mr. Orange County?
Well,
really
listen, Paul calls me Mr. Orange County, but check this out. You were recently featured in a magazine here in Orange County, right?
Yes, I was.
What magazine was that?
So it was privileged to be honored as one of the rising under 40 talents in Orange County by Orange Coast Magazine. And what I loved most about that, besides the fact that my mom will take the magazine and like share it with the neighbors and the family, like that's always a point of
Way to go. What's your mom's name again?
Maria.
Maria. Saludos, doña Maria, eh?
Right.
Eso.
So,
Yes.
but what I loved was the feature around 211 and the role that we play, because it is, I get to support this organization at this point in time, and like the critical part that 211 plays in our community.
Yes.
But it is all about awareness. It is about making sure that people know where to go when they need help. And that's a different audience, not one that would normally, if you're sitting at home looking at a magazine, you're not normally the type of people that are looking for a 211 resource on an ongoing basis. So it helps to broaden the awareness on 211. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's one of those things where you don't necessarily always share your age, but it's like in bold. I'm 37, and I've been.
Oh, she acts like she's so old, right?
Yeah, like that's hard to admit.
right,
Yeah.
right. I know. I'm gonna be 50 next year. I'm like, man, when I was 37.
Oh, man,
right?
37.
I know.
Wow,
we wish we were 37, right, Paul?
Anytime.
No. You know what? Congratulations,
Thank you.
because obviously it shows that you're doing what you were asked to do, right, and stepping into this. And not only by the magazine, but I've heard from other people in the community that first and foremost, stepping into that role was challenging, right? You had to come in and, from my understanding, organize a lot and take it to another level, right? And so,
Well, I'll say that my predecessor, Karen Williams, did a remarkable job for many years to carry through the vision of 211 in Orange County. It was the right opportunity at the right time. And Sue Parks, who leads Orange County United Way, was brave in stepping forward and saying, this makes sense. This makes sense for the people of Orange County. Let's do this. And because of that acquisition, we've been able to resource appropriately at a level that I think we always wanted and needed in Orange County. We're still building towards that, but we are at a much stronger place. And it is a great source of pride that we've been able to do this. But I would say because of our predecessor, because of the brave move from Sue Parks at Orange County United Way, we're in a much stronger position today than we've been, and we're continuing to grow and build.
sorry, Paul's making a lot of noise back here.
Somebody.
I don't know, he's like
well,
doing
they want to
mechanic
ask
work.
a question.
He keeps wanting to ask a question. Go ahead, Paul.
You've got so many people from your youth chamber and people like that that listen in. How do you get to a job like this? What qualifies
Hard
you?
work, right, Elizabeth?
I mean, is it some work that you did in the past, or did you study for this kind of position, or did you just find your way into it?
I would say it's hard work. Of course, I work very hard, and I will always be upfront about that. A little bit of luck, and just I'm kind of wired to be curious, and I would say that's the number one skill set that you want to cultivate is curiosity. I always wondered growing up why things were the way that they were, and why you needed to wait in a lobby for hours to see someone that could tell you if you qualified for resources or not. Why people are unhoused, why people stand in line for food. I mean, just natural curiosity is, I think, one of the key elements of the success. And I've held that throughout my career. I have a bachelor's in sociology, so I love people. I love studying people. I love to people watch. I am one of those that will sit there
The
with a cup of
study of
coffee
human behavior.
and just watch and analyze.
Now another connection with Mr. Orange County. He's
Yeah.
a sociology
That's it.
major.
Yes, the study of human behavior. But you make a great point, the curiosity, right? And I think sometimes, depending on the person's personality, not everybody's going to do that, right? Not everybody's going to be curious. Not everybody's going to ask that question. Not everybody's going to put their nose into something that others wouldn't, right? Not everybody's going to say, I want to take that challenge. It takes courage.
It does.
Right?
It does.
And
you have to be wanting
Yeah.
to do it as well.
Yes.
Because when you ask the question, you also have to receive the answer. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is receiving the answer and saying, am I going to sit with this and accept it, or am I going to look to work hard to try to modify it? And maybe it's not change that I'll get to see in my lifetime, but the proud mom of a 17 and a 15-year-old, and I hope that they also see that curiosity is a benefit in cultivating it. And when you're a parent, I mean, you've got kids. When you're a parent and you're trying to cultivate that curiosity, that's the last thing you want to do. And so, again, my hats go off to my mom, because she will tell you story after story after story about how I broke this thing because I was trying to figure out how it worked, or I pulled this apart and couldn't put it back together, or always asking questions, or always trying to do this or trying to do that. And so it takes a lot to bring up a child that's curious, but it's even more challenging, I think, at times as an adult, to be the one with the question, or to be the one that always has the
Can
question.
you become curious, or are you born curious?
I think we're
Because I think
all
of my
born
own daughter,
curious.
who God love her, very wonderful person, not curious. She just accepts that's the way it is. Don't you want to know whether the sky is blue? I don't care. It's blue. I don't want
But
to
we're
know.
also dealing with a different generation, right? Today's generation is so different than our generation. Wouldn't
Agree.
you say?
I agree.
And also the way maybe our parents raised us was so different. I mean,
Yes.
so much of who our parents are or were, in my case, my dad's passed away, but who our parents were and how they raised us is so different from those days, back in the days compared to today, right? Technology plays a huge role. Obviously, we're seeing there's more mental health issues because of non-social stuff,
Some
right?
isolation, yeah.
Right. You're probably seeing a lot of that, right? Or hearing about a lot of that.
We are. That's our third or fourth, depending on the month, that we analyzed requests for services, and so we partner closely with the County of Orange for assistance and resources, with our friends at CalOptima for the resources that they provide. You know, a third of the county is Medi-Cal eligible or enrolled, and so how do we connect people that have health insurance or can qualify for health insurance into those resources? But with youth, it's not necessarily desired to go and sit in front of someone, you know, but using technology to receive resources. How are we kind of bridging those gaps to also get people the care in the way that they want to receive it?
I just want to point out for anybody that tuned in late on the show or something, you know, some of the services you guys offer that I'm reading here, of course, on your website is food, shelter, prenatal care, substance abuse, government assistance programs, workforce development.
But you don't offer the services.
These are
You offer
the organizations
connections.
within you, right?
This is a part of our 1,100 plus service providers that are providing direct care.
But
Some
you're
of
the
the
connector.
resources-
You're like Mr. Orange County. You
we
connect
are.
everybody.
We are. We're the bridge. Yeah, you call 211, and our goal is to walk you across that bridge to the appropriate resource, and that there's somebody on the other end of that bridge to receive you and provide that care. There are some programs that we do offer in-house. So the part of the benefit of being at Orange County United Way and part of the rich resource, Orange County United Way provides direct care. And we do that in the area of housing around our work with homelessness. We do that with student success, and we do that with financial literacy. And so there are programs that we can connect folks to that are within the Orange County United Way family. And I think oftentimes when we're trying to dispel myths as well, Orange County United Way is a direct service provider and one that we help to support with getting people connected to as well.
Give us a service that nobody knows exists, that you wish everybody knew was out there. Like housing. I think there are housing assistance programs and stuff. Yeah.
There are housing assistance programs. Utility assistance is one that I would say most people wouldn't know that there's income brackets that if you are within, you can qualify for reduced rates on your utilities. And I don't know when you looked at your utility bill the last time, but it is.
I was shocked for the last time.
Yes,
Yeah.
it can be quite shocking, and so, especially if you're on a fixed income like a senior.
Yep.
Having those discounts and capped rates is a huge benefit, and one that we can help enroll you in.
Yeah. The other thing is, you know, it's really interesting. This was established in 1984 in Irvine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Here in the city we're in.
Where we're at
Irvine.
The
right
whole
now.
nationwide program started from
No,
Irvine?
it started. So we were one of the first regions in the country that established what we called at the time InfoLink. Now, this is before my time because we already established that. I'm 37. So this was in 1984, just a couple of years before I was born. But there was a committed group of community volunteers who said we need to establish a way for people to connect to resources here locally. And so they created their own kind of, I imagine in my mind, like a recipe box. I'm sure it was more sophisticated than that, but a recipe box with the phone numbers of the resources that existed and being able to receive those through phone and connect people to the resources available. So they started curating the Orange County resource. And then in 1987, it was an FCC adoption, so 211 across the country. In California, we're mandated to have it be operated 24/7. So any point of the day or the night, any day of the week, if you dial 211 in California, you'll get connected to your local call center. And our call center is actually in Orange County. So we hire locally, we support locally. It's all, again, about our local community.
And I love the fact that you're also helping a lot, of course, homelessness, right?
We do.
That's we're hearing a lot more of that, right? As of recently.
We are. And it goes back to the affordability of housing. So part of the resources that we offer through 211, and I always want to be very frank about this, is we connect people to the available resources. If the resource doesn't exist or is not available, there's no way for us to cross that bridge. But we are, imagine the front door. So someone's experiencing homelessness or about to experience homelessness, and they need resources. Think about 211 as that front door, and from that front door you'll be guided to the room that's available to help support with the care that you need. United Way did a cost study on homelessness and evaluated that the major contributor to the rise in homelessness was the affordability or lack thereof. And so part of what we are working on is ensuring that people know how to get connected to affordable housing if it exists. We know it's a low inventory, but making sure that it's a fair process for affordable housing. Rental assistance, working with our county partners to pilot ways to get rental assistance, so payments for rent to people who need it, who are most likely to become unhoused.
Yeah.
That's a pilot that we're running right now through Orange County United Way. Utility assistance, like I mentioned before, if you are on fixed income and you have a higher than normal utility bill, that will impact your ability to pay your rent. I mean, when you are, within the margin of a couple of dollars for your household budget and trying your very best, one unexpected expense will put you into a category where you're gonna be looking for help.
And I want to make sure we point out, as we run out of time, of course, and I want to make sure we point out the website is www.211oc.org.
Right.
I think that's important that we share that, because I think there's just a lot of great information for those of you viewing or just listening to us that you can share, whether it's for yourself or somebody it might be your neighbor, it might be somebody that your child goes to school with, right? We so often don't realize there's other children going to school with our children that may need these resources.
That are struggling. Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's so easy to remember. 211.
Yes.
And haven't we all experienced that when there's a crisis in your family or yourself, health crisis, mental health, housing crisis, sick, something, suddenly there's a crisis, you don't know where to go. And today you think, well, Google or whatever, but I don't know that people even know that a lot of this stuff exists. So to have somebody that you could just pick up a phone and call 211 and for free say, what's your problem? Let's see if we can connect you with somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've done the legwork, right? We've gone through the Googles, we've connected with the service providers. We know what's available out there. And so it is your most up-to-date resource list, and you can access it by calling 211. You can text 898-211. You can receive information that way, or you can go on the website and self-serve. All of the resources are there. That is our role in the community, is to make sure.
Let me just repeat. You said you can just text?
You can text us at 898-211. Text us your zip code and what resource you're looking for, and you'll be connected to one of our live call agents.
That is such a great, just easy, right? Just, I didn't know you could just text. I thought you had to pick up the phone and actually make a call. Yeah. Believe it or not, today there's actually classes in college where they're teaching the young new generation how to pick up a phone and make a phone call.
That's a value.
I groan when I hear that.
But it's the truth.
My daughter,
Paul,
the phone rings and she says, what's that noise? Exactly.
but we have to be realistic. Most kids today or young people are communicating by text. Yeah. So the fact that you're able to offer that resource, it says a lot about you understanding your audience, you understanding that times are changing, and a simple text, you never know when it's somebody, for example, wanting to commit suicide, right? And they're going through a hard time. They're not going to pick up the phone and want to talk to somebody, most likely. That's the hard part. But if they can text and say, help, I'm going through this tough time.
A little more anonymous,
right?
Maybe,
Absolutely.
or something.
Yeah. You're there to answer that text and say, let us help
Or they
you.
can even self-service, like she said, just go on the website.
Yeah,
browse through.
Absolutely. And I'll do a quick plug for the Warm Line. You mentioned suicide prevention, and oftentimes it is about de-escalating and then connecting to resources for longer term care. And our Orange County Warm Line, that's managed and supported by NAMI, is a great resource. And when if someone calls 211 and they are in distress, or they text us and need additional support, that we can easily transfer that call directly to a peer navigator, somebody who has lived experience, either their own or a loved one, and they will talk to them. And that's
And it was supported by who? You gave some acronym. What's NAMI?
So NAMI is the National Alliance for Mental Illness, and the Orange County chapter is remarkable and has been operating the warm line for several years and has great success in
So
it.
instead of a hotline, it's a warm. I like that
a warm
better.
line.
It's a warm call rather than a hot call.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Well, and first and foremost, let's just also thank United Way
Absolutely.
for having that, I guess you could say, courage to say, we want to take over this organization that has been growing, right? And taking it to another level.
Yes.
Shout out to Sue Parks.
That's right.
Been here several times through the years. And when I remember when she originally took over, I said, that doesn't sound like my grandfather's or my father's United Way, where they took in money and then just distributed it to other people through corporate deductions.
And speaking of that, I think United Way and, of course, 211, it's important we share with people listening and watching. Please donate. Please support these nonprofits. Please help them as much as you can. If you own a business, we have a lot of business leaders that own businesses, and you're looking for that tax write-off. Think about it. You're going to still give that tax money to wherever it is it's going in the government. Why not donate it in your backyard? To someone
United
like
Way has a unique program that they pioneered years ago, payroll deduction. So
Yeah.
rather than asking me to write a check, it's easier just to take it out of my.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And every bit counts, whether it's $25, $100, it all helps, right?
Completely. It helps to build that bridge. I mentioned we're providing direct services to our community and Orange County resources for Orange County community. And so that is a point of extreme pride for us. And there's plenty of opportunities for us to engage further volunteer wise for your employees. If you're listening and are looking for how to engage or provide those opportunities for engagement for your teams, we're happy to help support in that way as well.
We gave a shout out to your mom, Maria. What's your father's name again?
Carlos.
Carlos. Carlos Andrade.
That's it.
He knows me. I know.
Everybody knows you.
We hung out
Everybody
when I was a kid. He was at my uncle's house. So shout out to Carlos and your mom. Obviously, they've done a fabulous job raising,
thank you.
a family of 6, right?
They did.
And kudos to our parents, right? Because they're
Yes.
the ones that instill. You mentioned earlier, growing up in Santa Ana, humble beginnings, and I think, wouldn't you say that plays a huge role on who you are today and what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, this work to me is personal. It 100% is personal. I love Orange County. I love the Santa Ana community. I live in Fountain Valley now and love that community as well. And it's all about the people. And if we don't help each other, then who will?
Wow. With that, I just want to say thank you for being on our show, Elizabeth. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having
We
me.
wish you all the best. And again, folks, go to 211oc.org to learn more about this great organization and what they're doing. Thank you to United Way for doing all you're doing. And we'll see you hopefully soon again on another magazine. And you're welcome to come back to the show anytime you want. Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
All right, folks, there you have it. Another great week. Mr. OC Talk Radio, Paul Roberts, take it away on our community podcast show where our community is your community.
Well, there you have it. There's a good reason to tune in each and every time to get connected to resources like 211 Orange County. Find out what's happening in the community and who to call. From our community to your community, right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studio here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.